What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Gaming with the Broscast.
Hello. Episode number 74. How's it going, everybody?
Yes, how is it going, Nick? It's Resident Evil week, baby. It's Resident Evil. We got a lot to talk about. We're not doing any spoilers. Although I think maybe we should do like some sort of spoiler cast maybe next
we should
week.
Do one.
Because I definitely plan on finishing it up in the next couple of days, because it's I'm about 7 hours in. Is that how long do I have from what I told you? A little bit longer, maybe a couple hours.
You probably have 2 hours left.
About 2 hours left. Okay.
Yeah.
So, about a standard typical Resident Evil game, anywhere between like 7 to 10 hours.
But shorter than I thought.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was gonna be more in like the 15-hour range, but it's not too difficult of a game. But before we jump into any of that, we're already getting way ahead of ourselves. We're so excited. My name is Harrison, and I'm joined by my brother Nick, as always. Before we dive into Resident Evil and any other games that we've been playing this week, how was your week, Nick?
Sorry, it must be my Wi-Fi is messing up a little bit, but my week has been good. Man, I feel like my weeks are always good, and I haven't had a bad week in a while. It's getting boring, I just.
Well, your job's slowing down. You're playing thousands of hours of Resident Evil in a 24-hour period. I mean, times are good right now for you.
It feels like it. I feel like I'm burning myself out on video games between Pokemon Snap and Resident Evil and Skate City, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But it's aside from gaming, the weekend's been good. Went out to a brewery this weekend, played some disc golf.
Nice.
Then went to Bessemer City and hung out with the family a little bit, and did some Mother's Day stuff. Went to the old drugstore and had some oranges and ice cream. It was
nice.
It was delicious.
How
was your week?
It was good. It's I feel like I'm finally kind of slowing down. I had my son's birthday last week, and then this week was my wife's birthday. Their birthdays are 10 days apart. So it's a little bit crazy around this time, but it's all good. And even like as busy as I felt, I still wasn't that busy, just because I'm like at home all the time. So like there's no delay in getting stuff done, because I'm here, which is awesome. We ended up kind of having a pretty chill weekend. I made some steaks for us, and then we ended up having a couple of drinks and came downstairs and played some more of It Takes Two, which we're getting closer to the end. We play about a couple of times a week, but we'll get there eventually. We're not in a rush or anything to kill it. But that game is so good. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it's great.
She gets so frustrated when we play, and I'm just like,
it's because she thinks she's letting you down.
Yeah, exactly. And I tell her, I'm like, no, you just need to do this, and she's like, no, I got this. And I'm just like, you don't need to get so frustrated. Like, I'm having a good time. Like, the stakes are so incredibly low that, like, I mean, I'm not gonna say anybody can pick up and play, but anybody can kind of pick up and play. It's pretty fun. And just like
It Takes Two is.
Yeah, there's like no loading. Like you come back instantaneously, except for like boss fights. You have to kind of be a little bit more strategic. But even then, still such a low stakes entry kind of game. But we played that a little bit, and then we jumped. Saturday we kind of chilled out, and then Sunday we didn't really do much either. We it was Mother's Day. I forgot we went out to dinner. I got her some flowers, and we went out to dinner and ate. And then Monday I took the day off, and we went over to our local zoo, which was the first time she's ever been.
Nice.
First time Kellen's ever been. And I thought it was going to be my first time, but apparently we went sometime back when we were kids. I couldn't remember. So that was a lot of fun. It ended up being like a perfect day. We were kind of hesitant at first about getting tickets, because we saw there was going to be some nasty thunderstorms, and it didn't actually end up thunderstorming until well after we left the park. So it was a super nice day, cloudy, about 75 degrees, so not too hot or anything. Ended up walking about 5.5 miles for the whole day, just because like we brought Kellen's little cart or whatever, and they do have a tram because it's broken up between like North America and Africa. They have a tram in between, but our cart didn't fold up, so we couldn't put it in.
Couldn't get on it.
Yeah, couldn't get it. I mean, I thought we probably could get it. We probably could fit it on there just because like it wasn't crowded. But yeah, super awesome seeing like elephants and stuff, and just all the kind of exotic animals that you don't ever see. You got to see like polar bear and like how freaking huge those things are. Like it's ridiculous.
We saw a polar bear. There's a
it was a polar bear. What's funny, like I laughed at Brittany because like I was reading like all the all the facts and stuff they have about the animals and like how important their habitats are and this and that.
Mhm.
I'm like, well, if that's so important, why do we have a polar bear in North Carolina? But I digress. But
was it cold? Like,
I mean, no, it was
chilled?
like it was outside.
Bro, that's a bear.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like the white. Well, it wasn't like super white either. It was like brown too. So I don't know. They had like a grizzly bear and black bear and stuff, and seeing the like how big those things actually are was pretty awesome. The only bummer, and what Kellen really wanted to see was the giraffes. And apparently, if it's like slick outside or they know it's going to rain, they won't come out because I guess they can trip really easily on the grass.
Top heavy.
Top definitely. So we didn't see them, which was a bummer. But we got to see an elephant go swimming, and that was pretty awesome. It was like
nice.
kind of like not like unexpected. We were getting ready to leave, and then the elephant came into the water and started like kind of splashing around, moving its trunk and stuff. And then it just like dove into the water, and we did not expect like the water to be like as deep as it was, because like it went completely under and was like swimming and stuff. It was so cool.
Did Kellen love it?
Yeah, he loved it. But he really wanted to go see the giraffes. But he's like, you know what my favorite animal is? And we're like, what's that, buddy? He said, giraffes. Let's go. I'm like, oh my gosh, patience, my man, patience. But yeah, I had a super great weekend, long weekend. Yeah, it was good stuff. I ended up on Friday, I went back to the office for the first time in a year, which was wild because it was a complete ghost town. I mean, just walking in there and like I think they only ever have like maybe 7 or 8 people in their total in our office. And I didn't see anybody walking around in like kind of the main building. So I cleaned out my desk and got everything I needed. So that was pretty cool.
Was it like
kind of surreal, I guess? Yeah, kind of. I mean, I walked in, there's like one security guard. He didn't even look up when I walked in. Swiped my badge, went downstairs. And then I just kind of walked around the building for a second. I went to like their like a food court area, and like there was like nothing. And like in the cafeteria, there was like a few bags of chips. It was like kind of weird. Yeah, it was like very like Last of Us, like just completely abandoned.
Frozen in time.
Yeah, frozen in time. So that was cool. And I was talking to one of the ladies. I was like, oh my God, this is so weird. She's like, yeah. So this is the first time y'all been back. Normally we're just here by ourselves, like yelling across the room at each other. But yeah, it was cool. But yeah, glad to know that we're gonna be at home indefinitely, and looking forward to that.
Indefinitely.
Definitely, man.
What a word.
In unprecedented times, man.
It's we're just in these unprecedented times, and things are indefinite. Nothing is certain anymore. That's just where we are.
Yeah, that's just where we are.
But yeah, let's everyone go in at once.
Yeah, they scheduled us days. Luckily, I got Friday at like the end of the day, so they're like, take 2 hours out of your day on Friday, and go and get your stuff. And I was like, you just made my weekend, man. I'll go. But so that was cool.
Nice.
But yeah, let's dive into what we've been playing.
Should we start with the big one?
No, let's hold off on Resident Evil and then
okay.
That's the only thing I've been playing. So other than It Takes Two, but I don't really have much else to say about that right now. But yeah, what else you been playing?
I talked about Pokemon Snap last week, right? I know I had been playing it, but I hadn't finished it.
Yeah, you hadn't finished it at that point.
Okay. I finished it, and it was really. I mean, it was good. It was good. I wrote up a review on GameWithTheBros.com, and I gave it a 7.75 out of 10.
Nice.
I wanted to give it an 8, but I just didn't think it was like that fantastical of a game. You know, it was better than the first one, just by comparison. But that doesn't mean it was like a really great game. Like at the end of the day, it's just a game where you're taking pictures of Pokemon and rating them, or having the professor rate them. But
what? Actually, go ahead and finish her. Then I'll ask my question.
No, go ahead.
What if? Because obviously, I mean, new Pokemon Snap. If you like the original or know about it, you kind of know what to expect. Obviously, there's some improvements to it and some extra stuff. What could they have really done to completely, not necessarily shake it up, but like add to it to expand upon it? Because I mean, from what I've seen in reviews and stuff, and it kind of, I think it's sitting on like an 80 right now on Metacritic. That's the last time I saw it. It seems so your kind of review matches up with what most people think. What in your opinion, what do you think could have been added, or is that just kind of too hard to state, I guess?
Well, I guess one thing they could have done is just make it off rails. You have like these self-contained levels or worlds that you can walk around in, and maybe you have a timer, or maybe it's hard to quantify. It's hard to say what would make this game better, because if you make it anything more than a photography game, it's not going to be Pokemon Snap.
Right. Yeah.
But I'd say if you made it off rails, or I don't know, there's like some sort of innovation to the game that I can't think of at the moment, but I don't know, it doesn't have like that it factor that some games have.
Yeah.
And
makes sense.
I don't know, it's a game that existed 22 years ago, and it was good when it came out. Like it wasn't the best game ever when it came out. And here we are 2 decades later, and we're getting a better version of that, but it's still the same game.
More or less the same kind of.
Yeah, it's more or less the same. Like they didn't really change much.
Yeah, that was kind of my initial thought, is maybe making it keep it first person, or maybe do third person, then obviously first person when you're taking pictures. But yeah, like kind of a where you walk around yourself, that could be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I'm still surprised that no iteration of this ever came to phones, especially with like how well Pokemon Go did, and like how much fun that even that now has a camera feature in it where you can take snapshots of your Pokemon and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm surprised like that never happened on kind of like the following the hype of Pokemon Go. But
that would have been cool. I mean, taking pictures in real life and having those rated by a professor.
Yeah.
Kind of progressing. It doesn't even have to have a story. You could just try to get the best pictures. But yeah, that would have been cool. I mean, I feel like that would have been a good innovation on the series. And I'm not saying that this was not a good game, because I enjoyed it. I plan on going back after after I'm done with Village. After I've kind of done everything. But I just think that it was kind of a safe game in the franchise.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of like,
and that's not a knock on it,
Yeah, it's kind of like and I don't know why this immediately popped into my head, but going from Gears 3 to Gears 4. Obviously it went from Epic to the Coalition. So I feel like the Coalition had to prove themselves that they could make a good Gears game, and they did. And then Gears 5 is where they kind of started innovating more with like kind of like more of the open world kind of stuff, more of like some minor kind of RPG mechanics that they added to Gears 5. So that's kind of like the or maybe from like Halo 3 to Halo 4, something like that, where
Yeah.
they weren't like necessarily innovative games, but they were still like
So
solid parts of that franchise.
And maybe that's the case with Bandai Namco, because they took the helm on this game.
Yeah.
And they proved they can make a really, really good Pokemon Snap, and it looks beautiful. I don't think they developed the original, if that's what you're gonna ask.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not sure who did the original.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just like straight up the Pokemon Company or sorry, Game Freak. I don't know.
Sure.
It might have been Game Freak. Actually, oof.
I wonder if they plan on doing any DLC for this game. I feel like they could, right? I mean, like not every Pokemon is not in. There's no way there is, but
there's only like just over 200, I think, and it's strangely lacking Pokemon from Sun and Moon, or not Sun and Moon,
Sword and Shield,
and kind of Sun and Moon. There's not a lot of Pokemon from Sun and Moon in there, so maybe there's a DLC that's coming out, later this year or next year, that'll have a couple more stages or levels, and it'll be dedicated to like Pokemon Sword and Shield Pokemon. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I feel like this game could definitely be expanded on, whether that be through free updates or paid DLC. But yeah, like I would definitely get DLC for this. I mean, it's exciting to go through each level and discover new Pokemon and new ways to interact with them. Like that's definitely a fun part of it. And coming from someone who normally doesn't mess with photography modes in games, having a game that's like centered around photography just is appealing to me in some way. I don't know. I guess it's kind of like an on-rails first-person shooter, but you're getting graded for your kills or your shots.
Yeah, that's cool. I definitely want to check it out eventually.
Yeah, I'll lend it to you.
Yeah, I didn't realize you picked it up physical. What made you do that?
I was on my way to your house last weekend, or not?
Yeah,
the weekend before last, and I was like, yeah, I'll pick it up. Pick it up physical in case
Where'd you get it from?
Target.
Okay.
I should have gone to Walmart. I forgot they had.
Yeah, all their games were always discounted. They're always $10 off the the retail price, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah. I'm glad it's a solid game. I know a lot of people have been thoroughly enjoying it, and yeah, hopefully they do some DLC or eventually do like another sequel or something, and really innovate, because it's an interesting concept and an idea.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they can do with the franchise now that it's kind of back. I don't know if it's back for good, but
yeah, I wonder how well it's selling right now.
I'm sure it'll sell like a few million. I mean, it's a Pokemon game. It's kind of dripping with nostalgia.
Yeah,
I don't know how many people are nostalgic for Pokemon Snap, but
yeah, I think a lot of people are. Now it's just, I think a lot of people are probably on the edge about like that $60 price point.
Yeah, the value proposition is hard to sell it to people.
Yeah,
hard to sell the idea of it to people for $60 when.
Yeah, hopefully they do it like at least a little bit of free DLC, whether that's through like an event or something, like to be like, oh, this weekend only, so and so is appearing in this, and this is and you have to figure out how to get it to come out or whatever. So that could be cool. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could do with that. But anything, what else you been playing? Some Skate City?
I think that's what it's called. Skate. I don't want to butcher it. I think it's Skate City.
What platform is it on?
It's on like every platform.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's like a 2.5D or 2D/3D skateboarding simulation game, and I bought it on the Switch. It was like $10. I haven't played much of it. I've just been kind of noodling around, doing some tricks and grinds. And
dry noodle or wet?
Kind of wet right now. It's okay. Like if Skater XL and Session and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 hadn't have come out, this would have semi scratched my big itch.
Yeah.
But those are already out, And like this game just makes me want to go play Skater XL instead, because I can do
Gotcha.
this and more in that game. Even though like this game has challenges and like you can film stuff and have it rated by a group of people, and you can't do that in like Skater XL or Session. But yeah, it's cool. I mean, if you like skateboarding games, then give this a shot. I don't know if there's a demo, but
Well, hopefully,
$10.
I mean, I think is it in June or July that EA press conference is coming out?
That's
It's July,
June.
right? I thought it's coming like a month later than E3 this year.
Oh, is it? I thought it might be. It'll be either late June or early July.
Because the reason why I think Battlefield 6 is coming to Game Pass is because I think Battlefield is supposed to be having like a reveal at sometime in June, which I think is going to correlate with like Microsoft's press conference for E3. So I think it's going to get announced there. This is about rumor. We'll definitely have to do like a our guesses for E3 soon.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think it's going to get announced there. But the reason why I mention this is because hopefully Skate will be at that July press conference for EA.
Yeah, hopefully it gets. I mean, they announced it last year.
Yep.
And it was kind of an unceremonious announcement where they just said, "Hey, you commented it into existence," and
Yeah, I feel like that was like back then. It was like the very early stages of. They're like, we got to have something that people want. Guys, what do we do? What do we do?
Greg, get in here.
People like skate. Great. Oh God, I like Greg Miller, but that was it was just the writing. I feel like a lot of like the banter and hosting for a lot of these events last year were pretty bad.
Wait, did Greg Miller host it? I just completely
he hosted the EA one, and it was. I know it wasn't him because like I like his like podcast and stuff he's done and his work with IGN, but yeah, it was just kind of bad, cringy writing on the writer's part for EA.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Yeah, that was a really bad. That was probably one of the worst, in my opinion. There just wasn't a ton announced, but anyways, yeah, hopefully we get some skate stuff in July. But any
sweet.
What else for Skate City? Any kind of final thoughts? So it's just kind of too early to really expand upon.
Too early to tell. I've probably only played 45 minutes in total.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been playing some Resident Evil, baby.
Yeah, man. Well, anything else you've been playing before we dive in?
No, sir.
Awesome. All right, y'all. Sit back and relax. Again, no spoilers. We're kind of just going to talk about like, our kind of our impressions of what we played. Nick, for the record, has beaten it about 4 or 5 times. 4 times. I have not beaten it yet. I am very, very close. I would have beaten it already. I just had a crazy week. So, but I am going to push through. And again, we'll do our spoiler cast sometime, or we'll do it next week. We'll carve out like 10 minutes or something, 15 minutes in the podcast next week and let you guys know when we do that. But Nick, Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil Village, whatever you want to call it. What are your impressions? How do you like it?
Well, obviously I like it a little bit since I've played it 4 times, and
I don't know, we're just getting your money's worth, I guess.
Yeah, and I feel like I have at this point, but it's amazing. I mean,
yeah,
it builds off of like the foundation set in Resident Evil 7. It's not as scary. That just right off the bat, not as scary, but in my opinion, that's okay because I love survival horror, but I don't need the game to be like scary all of the time. I like the exploration and the crafting and the weapon upgrades, inventory system, merchant system. Like they just added like everything that I love about a Resident Evil game into this. The village setting is so phenomenal. Coming back to the village after you beat a boss, and the map kind of changes a little bit, and you can go like unlock new stuff and find new treasure and whatnot. And like that kind of stuff is what I really, really love in a Resident Evil. And it's kind of been missing since like Resident Evil 4 and, Resident Evil 5 to some extent. I think that had like a merchant system of sorts that you could spend money and buy upgrades and stuff. But Resident Evil 7 didn't have that. It didn't have like a weapon upgrade system. It had antique coins that you could get and use, and you could buy like a couple of weapons and some like steroids that you can use to boost your health. But nothing as extravagant as what's in Village. So
yeah, it's I really like. I mean, Resident Evil 7 kind of had, but it did have like a hub with the trailer kind of in between, like in the back, and then right beside like Marguerite's like the boathouse, and then Lucas's whatever. So it kind of had like a small hub and garage or what, I don't know what it was. But yeah, I really love like the idea of like a hub, and there's like treasure and stuff that's kind of throughout the map, and stuff kind of like slowly unlocks as you go. I mean, it gives you kind of, it blends like your favorite parts of Resident Evil 4 with like the action. It does have horror, and there are some psychological and freaky moments in the game that I've seen so far. In like the fighting, like the Lycans, I would say are probably the main enemies in the game, are pretty tough. Like it does a really good job. I think at one point I had like 80 bullets in my handgun, and I was like, man, like I am tearing this game up. And then I did like 3 back-to-back like Lycan fights, and I was completely deplenished of ammo. But they do a really great job of making you feel really powerful. With and Ethan just in general controls better, and they have like a story explanation of him doing military training. So I thought that was pretty cool, to kind of open it up a little bit more as far as being a shooter. One recommendation that I would recommend is what Nick found out. If you turn off the look acceleration, right?
Like aim acceleration or whatever it's called.
Aim acceleration, it controls a little bit better in our opinion. So try that if you find the movement and aiming a little weird or like a little bit off, and you kind of want to feel more like maybe Resident Evil 7. Try that and see if that helps you, because it definitely helped me. It felt a lot better after I played like the initial demo. But I mean, we won't dive into the story at all, but I've really been enjoying that so far. Man, this game's great. It's so good.
Yeah,
so good.
It's a great story, and obviously no spoilers. I like how it ended, and it kind of it set up a future for the franchise as you would expect with with an 8th game in the series. But yeah, I really liked the story. I thought I went to some pretty cool places, and I want to talk about like a couple of areas from the game, but I won't. But how do you like the first big area? It's kind of universally known that the castle is one of the first areas.
Yeah. Going.
So we can talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about for a second. Yeah, it definitely gives you. I think it was pretty smart making you like go through the village first, and then putting you in there and immediately facing off with Lady D and her daughters, and learning that story and stuff like that. And definitely gives you like that classic Resident Evil kind of Dark Souls vibe, where you're unlocking doors and creating shortcuts and stuff. That was awesome. And then like kind of to the point where I was like, okay, I'm ready to be out of the castle. You get out of the castle, and then you move on to something else, and it's kind of more opened up. So yeah, I just that like all the areas are quite different than from one another. Resident Evil has like a bad what's the word,
track record.
Yeah, track record of like there's always like that one spot in the game that's like kind of miserable to go through. Although there might be one spot that I didn't love and that was the water area. I don't know if I
Yeah.
loved that, but it was like pretty short.
Yeah, both the second and third areas are pretty short, especially the
Yeah,
second one once you've done it one time.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it gets really short after that.
yeah, and like all the puzzles and stuff are pretty easy to solve. So definitely nothing crazy, but the kind of the classic stuff you if you know Resident Evil, you kind of know these puzzles. Getting an emblem, sticking it in, getting a statue head, putting it on. It's kind of the classic puzzle tropes that Resident Evil loves to use. But even as much as it is a trope, like I love it. Like I love that kind of style of like it like breaks up like the flow of combat in a really great way, I think. And yeah, some of the combat scenarios you get in are can quickly overwhelm you, even if you are prepared, and you have to like on the fly create craft weapons, bullets, stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite good. It's quite good. If you liked 7, I think it's way better than 7.
So if it's better than 7 in your opinion, then it's your favorite Resident Evil game.
So far, yeah. Like I'm almost at the end, and Resident Evil 7 is my favorite game, or Resident Evil in the franchise. So yeah, it could be my favorite Resident Evil. And I don't know I don't know what unlocks at the very end, and that's my favorite part of Resident Evil is like all the cool unlocks you get. So I'm excited to see what that is. But yeah.
Well, you have a lot to look forward to then.
Sweet.
I'm excited to know how you're gonna like the next part.
Okay.
Because from the reviews that I had initially read, it seemed like that area was kind of divisive, but I ended up liking it a lot. I felt it was somewhat reminiscent of like past Resident Evil games, whether it be 4 or 5. But yeah, like kind of like you said, each area is really different. None of them really overstay their welcome.
Yeah.
Like the castle section is just long enough.
Yeah, that's the longest part so far that I've seen.
Yeah, I think that's one of the longer ones, and for good reason. Like that's kind of like the flagship area.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, a lot happens in that area, and we'll talk about in spoilers, but it's very interesting how they did everything. And then you go on after that, but I won't get any further than that. But we'll talk about that on next week's show. But yeah, very smart, I thought, of Capcom with their marketing as far as this game goes.
Yeah.
What else? Like we talked about kind of the crafting. I mean,
how are you liking the merchant, the Duke?
I love it. I love finding all the treasures and selling it to him. I love his little quip about like, what are you buying or whatever. And he's like, huh, he's like, I used to have this friend. That was funny when I heard that for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the Duke. I like going out and hunting for animals and finding those around. Like, we haven't talked about it yet, but there's pigs and birds and chickens, and then they have like kind of like the more special like rare animals that you can find that you can and every time you cook it increases like your speed or your health or something like that permanently, which is kind of like the steroids, I guess, from the previous game. But yeah, I love the Duke is cool, man. Duke is cool.
He's a great character. I think one of the most like interesting characters in the game, and that's saying a lot because like a lot of the characters are really interesting, and I like the hunting too. The hunting is cool. I think you can only end up crafting like 6 or 7 buffs, which is fine. Like, that's enough.
Yeah, it's not super deep or anything like that. There's just a lot of things in this game that it gives you stuff to do. Whether you're just clearing out every room or every building or something like that, and making sure you're turning it blue instead of red. Although there are a couple of areas or a couple of rooms that I swore I looked everywhere, but I was missing something. And there's still a couple of areas that I haven't cleared yet. I don't know if it's glitched or I don't know.
There's one area that I literally could not solve, and it was the wine cellar in the castle. The part
Yeah.
where I think it's from the demo where you crawl through that crawl space and you see Lady D, or Lady Dimitrescu, and then she like walks out of the door and you appear in there. I couldn't find whatever was left in that room.
Yeah, I mean, you have to like look up because there's definitely like gyms and stuff like hiding. Kind of classic Resident Evil style. You have to shoot them down to get them. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, this game is just good. The gunplay feels good. I mean, the enemy variety has been excellent, or at least way better than 7 with their like 2 or 3 enemy types.
Yeah, just leagues better in that regard. Have
Yeah.
you done any additional exploring that has led to additional things?
Yeah, so like I've done like some of the treasure stuff. Like I think I've gotten everything I can get, and then, I've done like found like secret areas where to unlock some of the guns, some of the customizable parts for your gun, unlocking those. So yeah, I'm deep. I'm full in, baby. I'm deep. I'm deep in this game.
And you're 7 hours in.
Yes, I think I'm about 7 hours. I think.
Okay, that's interesting.
And I've done a lot of the stuff. I think there's only a couple of treasures that I have not gotten yet.
Okay, because I finished the game at about 8 hours.
Okay.
But
did you do everything? Like, did you get all the treasures?
I realized on my second playthrough that there was stuff I didn't do.
Gotcha. Okay, so maybe I'm a little well. I mean, I guess story wise, you probably know where I'm at, but yeah, I'll have a yeah. I'm just like kind of just taking my time. Like I'm just making sure I'm getting like every area, like going back to the map to make sure I've cleared it. Doing all the treasures. The treasures are, for the most, it's just stuff. I really like the designs of like the crystal skulls and all that stuff.
Yeah, those are really cool.
Kind of interested to see why they turn into crystal, but I'm sure maybe I'll learn that. I don't know. Maybe that's just how they die.
Crystallize, I guess.
Crystallize, whatever kind of mold-esque virus they got inside of them. But yeah, it's good. I think the monster, like the bosses that you fight, are all like pretty unique. And
any that you haven't liked?
No, I mean, like we'll talk about on the spoiler cast, but no, they've all been pretty good. I think I liked them a lot. Some I'm kind of curious, like how do you do it with a knife?
Well, the ones you've done, it's all just getting up to their face.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess you can.
Are you thinking of anyone in particular? First boss, second, third?
Well, I guess it's no spoiler that you fight Lady D, but her in particular.
It works.
Okay.
You can make it work. Yeah.
Okay. I was curious when
when
I first fought. Okay, cool. I was curious. I was like, how do you do this with just a knife? But yeah, I mean, anything else that you want to talk about this game? Obviously, it's kind of hard to mention everything when we're trying to be spoiler free, but anything else that have you tried? Did you try Mercenaries mode at all yet?
Yeah, I've played Mercenaries. I've only played like the first set of levels, and I'm trying to S rank it.
Is it pretty tough?
But yeah, I haven't tried too much. I think I've gotten up to A rank, but it's fun. Like you go through a map and you kill 20 something enemies, and then on the next map you can spend your lay and upgrade your weapons or buy health or whatever, and you just do the same thing again through various regions of the village map. So it's fun. Like I definitely want to play it some more, but I'm still wanting to like replay like the main story again.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about the difficulty real quick.
Okay.
I did my first playthrough on standard, and then I did New Game Plus, and I did New Game Plus on hardcore, and then I did like my knife only run on casual and another one on casual just to get some more achievements. Standard was pretty easy, and then
it's pretty simple.
pretty simple, and then doing New Game Plus on hardcore, outside of that first encounter, and you know the one I'm talking about, like the big one. It's pretty easy from there too, because you can carry over all of your weapons. So for all like the Resident Evil hardcore fans, or people who have been with the franchise for a while, I would recommend starting this game on hardcore and trying it from there, and getting past that first area, because I think that's like the hardest spot. That's like the biggest bottleneck to get through.
Yeah.
Because then it'll just make the game more intense. It'll make you focus on inventory management more. Whereas in my first playthrough in casual, I was never having to rearrange my inventory to fit anything.
No, I did it once when I got a shotgun, and I had to, because I wasn't expecting, and I had to kind of, and I could have deleted some stuff like some ammo, but I didn't feel like it. And I was able to get it to fit eventually, and I thought that was awesome.
It's a good feeling.
Like, man, I missed this. So yeah.
Like I was at a point, or I'm at a point now in my fourth playthrough on New Game Plus. So I've carried over stuff for 4 games, where I'm not even picking up like actual items anymore, like the non-craft items. Like I'm picking up like the gunpowder and stuff, but I'm not even picking up items anymore because I don't have any room. But I don't need room because I'm just playing it on casual. So I think my next playthrough is going to be on the Village of Shadows mode, which is the hardest difficulty, and then I'll do New Game Plus for that, and we'll see where I'm at next week and see if my opinion changes. But
yeah, that'll be interesting, because I mean, when I went through nightmare difficulty for Resident Evil 3, I mean, I had the infinite rocket launcher, so I just blew through the game. The only spot that gave me trouble was the final form of Nemesis in 3. But other than that, I mean, I just blew through it. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see how that'll. I'm curious to see what that'll look like.
Yeah,
in New Game Plus.
I either want to do that on New Game Plus or just start a new file completely and do hardcore.
Yeah,
on that, just to see like how much harder it actually is. Because like standard is pretty easy in comparison to like Resident Evil 7, I think.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I kind of want to talk about like Resident Evil is kind of known for like its openings. How did you compare this opening to Resident Evil 7?
Opening is in first,
like maybe the first like hour, I'll say first 30 minutes.
First hour. Okay, so maybe once you like get to the castle, or yeah,
I would say that the point with Resident Evil 7, I would say up until the point like where you fight Jack for the first time and like you beat him, and then like that's when the game kind of starts, like he disappears for a while and you kind of get to explore. Like that first time where you get to explore with your weapons is like what I'm talking about. But
okay.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty like I thought it was
saying.
pretty intense. Like it takes it's like a little bit of a build up. Like once you, like, no spoilers or anything, it's the very beginning of the game, but once you get to the village, like it's kind of a long build up, not long, but like a pretty hefty build up to actually seeing like the first enemy, and then you just get like kind of overwhelmed. I thought that was like an excellent way to start.
Yeah, that was like, I didn't know what to, like, I really didn't know what to do at that beginning part. And I watched you stream the beginning of it as well. And you're like, what the heck, man? Like, what do I do here? And, it's kind of a Resident Evil 4 situation, but that, like, that part in particular was like so well done, in my opinion. And, kind of made the opening for me. Cause like, it was a slow burn. Like, you start off at your house and you kind of take it from there over the course of like 15 or 20 minutes. And then you're finally at the village and in the weeds. But yeah, yeah, that build up and then just that switch that flips and then suddenly you're like in full panic mode
Yeah.
was awesome and a lot different than Resident Evil 7, which has that panic switch, but it's just you and Jack.
Yeah.
You know, it's just you and one other guy.
Right. Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. Way different.
So since you've beaten 8 compared to 7, do you have a preferred one? Do you like 8 better? Do you still prefer 7? What's kind of like your kind of thought on
I
it?
like 8 better.
8 better.
I think about each section of 7 and I just I'm put off from playing 7 again because of the ship and not really the mines, but you know, the mines just kind of gets grouped in with that. But I'm thinking about, when I think about playing Resident Evil 8 again, the areas that I don't like as much as the other ones, they're pretty quick.
Yeah.
So, you know, the ship on the ship in Resident Evil 7 was like an hour.
Yeah.
If you're playing through it normally. Whereas, you know, some of these other areas in Resident Evil 8, they're much shorter. So like none of it overstays its welcome like it did in Resident Evil 7. And for that reason, I think I like Resident Evil 8 more. Resident Evil Village.
No, Resident Evil, you absolutely do not need to start from the beginning. If you plan on picking up 8, I would definitely say play through 7 first. Just so you kind of get that backstory. But even then, like 8 kind of gives you like a history of 7 if you don't want to play it, or maybe like watch like a YouTube video or something. But no, like Resident Evil, it's such like a nonsense convoluted story in itself that none of it actually really matters. I think 7 and 8 are the only times where you play back to back like the same protagonist, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess if you count 5 and 6, you playing as Chris in both.
Well,
But you kind of
that's
play as
true.
everybody in 6.
Yeah. But
So,
yeah, absolutely not. No, you don't need to. They're all great. Like they're all like all the mainline Resident Evil games are excellent, and even Revelations 1 and 2 are quite good for what they are.
Yeah, but Caleb, knowing your taste in games, I would just play Village and watch the video, or watch the cinematic for Resident Evil 7. I feel like you would like Village more than Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more actiony for sure.
Yeah, I definitely like it more.
Yeah, for sure. Nick, any last thoughts on this game?
Man, I want to talk about it more, but everything I want to say is a spoiler. So I guess we'll have to wait until next week.
Yeah, I think it's great that we get another first person Resident Evil game, and they for like from what I've played, they've just absolutely nailed it. And I'm super excited to see if they continue the first person in general, I guess, you know, in this franchise. I wouldn't mind going back to third person. Obviously with the Resident Evil 4 remaster that's happening, or in like that rumored like Revelations 3 that's supposed to be coming out, which Revelations 3 turned into this game, which is kind of interesting. I guess at some point during development
it did?
Yeah, they flipped it over to be a mainline, to be Resident Evil 8. So I'm curious at what they do for Revelations 3, if there is one.
Oh, I had no idea. That's interesting.
Yeah. I wonder at what point they switched it. It had to have been like pretty early, I would imagine. But maybe like just the concept of it started as Revelations, but they switched it over. But yeah, I mean, if they could continue this path with having these, you know, these, I mean, obviously the last 2 third person ones were 2 and 3 remake. Yeah, I would love to return to Resident Evil in third person, but at some point, but this first person just gives so much just great detail to the environment. It really gets you, you know, in that, in the mood, I guess, or you know, in that world. Like it's super immersive, And yeah, I would. Yeah, I love it. I've loved these last 2 games. Definitely.
Really, these last 4. I mean, with 7, 2,
Yeah.
and 3.
Yeah.
I mean,
Ah,
Also, final plug. I also did a review of Resident Evil Village. You can check it out on GameWithTheBros.com.
oh,
It was not.
did you do an official review?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
What'd
Did
you
an
give it?
official.
Oh,
I
no, you
get
gotta read it. You gotta read it first.
read it. But I give it a 9.25.
Nice. But still read it.
Yeah,
Still
there
read it.
aren't really any spoilers for the back half of the game. Only
Cool.
the first 2 areas.
Cool.
Yeah.
Final thoughts on Resident Evil for
Love it.
next week? Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do our we'll cut out a segment of next week's show and do a spoilers for it and really dive into to that aspect of the game. But let's jump into news real quick. Not a lot happened this week, last couple of weeks really, but we'll start with Resident Evil. It sold 3 million copies in its first weekend. It's the fastest selling Resident Evil game to date.
Yeah.
I think the marketing has been really good. Obviously, like the horny people on the internet with Lady D Dimitrescu, has I see that crap everywhere, and it's hilarious.
It's fueled the game.
Yep, and like all the
Just
cosplay and stuff.
it.
But so I mean,
Yeah, it's some good cosplay.
Yeah, good cosplay. But yeah, marketing's been excellent. It's been everywhere. And I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I really love the franchise. I love Resident Evil. Like you mentioned, like their last 4 or 5 games have been really, really good, really solid. So I'm really happy. I'm happy for Capcom in general because they've had just a lot of bangers here the last few years with Monster Hunter World and Rise and then the Resident Evil series. They've just had a lot of great stuff.
It's crazy that Monster Hunter Rise sold, I think, 4 million copies in its first weekend.
Yeah,
so it sold more. Yeah, it sold more than Village. That I wouldn't expect that because, well, I guess Monster Hunter is super, super huge, especially in Japan.
Yeah,
but great for both games. I mean, they're competing with themselves for having kind of best-selling games this year.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, glad to see it's doing super well because it definitely deserves it. It's a great follow-up to 7. And then kind of just a quick thing I wanted to add. There's, I don't know if it's rolling out now, but we're getting a May update for the Xbox. We talked about it before where, they're going to show what's kind of being suspended. They're increasing like the quickness of quick resume, which is nice. And then also they're adding like backgrounds to the Xbox dashboard, like the I had it up earlier.
You could already have backgrounds, right?
Yeah, but I don't think they were like moving backgrounds.
Oh, like live.
Yeah, like live like
backgrounds.
kind of like what's the word?
No, they were. They did have those.
Did they?
Yeah, maybe not the ones you're thinking of though.
Yeah, or just like just movable backgrounds, I guess. I don't know.
Backgrounds.
What's the word I'm thinking of? I had it like anyways, they're backgrounds that like the artwork kind of like moves and stuff in in the back. But they have an Xbox, like the original Xbox dashboard that's going to be able to be used. The OG, which is pretty awesome.
Wait, the original Xbox or the original 360?
The original Xbox. Like the OG.
Wait, what did that one look like?
It was like black and green, and I can't quite remember what
kind
it
of
looked
looked like a DVD menu.
Yeah, it was cool. It was neat. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Oh, yeah. Dynamic is what I'm thinking of. Dynamic background.
Oh.
Let me just view this real quick. Yeah, it had like a little green like Nickelodeon blob thing in the back. And it was like it's all movie. I'm looking at it on Twitter here. It looks pretty cool. That's interesting.
Well, for those fans of the original Xbox, oh yeah, I see it. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty cool.
man, this looks terribly good.
Terribly good. Yeah.
It's just so like it looks like the Matrix.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Maybe
That's
that's
kind of it for news. Nick, have you seen all the stuff that's been coming out from like the Epic versus Apple lawsuit? Like all the, I know we talked about Microsoft and stuff, like their internal like review of Last of Us and stuff like that. But there's been a lot of other stuff that's come out. Mainly there's one that apparently Microsoft has never made a profit on any Xbox console to date,
yeah.
which is kind of crazy to think about. You think that they eventually would turn a coin and gain some sort of
they
profit, but
they just sell at a loss. They
yeah,
just want to get the consoles out there, I guess.
yeah, sell that software. So I mean, it makes sense. I mean, they're obviously a very profitable company, so they can afford to take losses like that.
It sucks though, man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
rough.
yeah. It does suck, and it just kind of goes to show like really how much of a deal you're kind of getting. Because I mean, something just the inner workings of a Series X would be if it was like just in a PC alone, it would probably well over 1,000 with the kind of horsepower that you're getting behind behind the scenes or whatever.
Mhm.
But you're just getting in that nice kind of compact packaging. So
It's
just
it's not
interesting.
modular, and in a
Yeah.
sense, that's what makes it less expensive, I would think. Like with a
Yeah.
PC, you could change out parts and whatnot, but with an Xbox, like you're paying $500 and you were getting an Xbox, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it.
You're not playing anything else on it. You're not really modding it to,
Mhm.
you can to a degree, I guess, but it's quite difficult. So
I want to read a
yeah.
quick dialogue. So there's a banana in
Oh, the like the nude
Fortnite.
banana or whatever.
Yeah, and it's at the center of this lawsuit right now. So here's the dialogue. So the Apple attorney said, "We have in front of us a set of new images, and what is the screen showing?" And Weisinger says, "This is your matchmaking lobby." And the attorney said, "And we have a large yellow banana here, don't we?" And in tuxedo. And Weisinger says, "Yes, that is Peely." Attorney, "And that's Peely, did you say?" "Yeah. And in fact, in the tuxedo, he's known as Agent Peely, correct?" "That's correct. We thought it better to go with the suit than the naked banana since we are in federal court this morning." A little bit of digression. We talked about Peely or banana. I remember that. This is later on. I do. The attorney said, "And there might have been an implication that to show Peely without a suit would have been inappropriate. Do you recall that?" "Yes." And then the attorney said, "Is there anything inappropriate about Peely without a suit?" Weisinger said, "No, there is not." The attorney said, "If we could just put on the screen a picture of Peely, is there anything inappropriate about Peely without clothes?" And Weisinger says, "It's just a banana, man."
Yeah, it's funny all this stuff that has come out because like yeah, like the video games industry is like they're like
Weird.
obnoxiously secretive about everything. And like just that report about Sony charging Epic to run cross platform for Fortnite. They have to pay
Yeah.
Sony so much money,
And like,
which is
so,
insane. And you really kind of really understand that Sony really does not want to do their like cross platform gaming. They just do not want to, and they were kind of forced into it from gamers, which good for us for allowing for making that happen. But yeah, you just kind of get the inner workings of kind of Sony. And
and
I'm not
this
saying
cross.
that like Microsoft and Xbox aren't money hungry, and but you kind of get the idea that Sony doesn't really give a shit about like its gamers. They just care about money and getting those.
Hot take.
Yeah, hot take. They say they care about their gamers and they want these AAA games, but I think at the end of the day, it's just about just the money. And and like I said, Xbox is obviously wanting to do the same thing. They want the money, but they just seem more genuine about it, I guess, is what I'm kind of
More
getting.
straightforward.
Yeah, while Sony is just pure by the numbers. They want that money. They don't, they want that AAA game experience because they know it's gonna sell. And that's, I know it's a hot take, but that's
Man,
kind of like the idea I'm getting from it. But that's kind of like
I should,
it's kind of like the idea I've had in general about Sony, like nowadays, with
I should clip this.
just with their like poor marketing, and I don't know, just kind of learning some things about them and how they run everything. But yeah, hot take, rant over.
They also have the deal, or this came out during the lawsuit as well, but they had a deal with Epic where if a player using a PlayStation account, or if players using PlayStation accounts spent a disproportionate amount of money on the Epic store on different platforms.
Yeah, so if you like use your phone, because like your phone is so much quicker to like purchase V-Bucks or whatever, than having to type in via like the virtual keypad on the PlayStation.
Then Sony would have to get a cut of that.
Yeah,
it's like if you're a waiter and you don't make that minimum wage from tips alone.
Yeah, the company is required to make up for it,
to cover that gap. That's kind of what this deal is.
Which, I mean,
makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it does, but I don't know. It's still kind of crazy to think about, but very, very interesting stuff. Like I could kind of care less about the lawsuit, like in general. It's just like Apple's knowingly greedy about like what they charge, like their percentage that they take from developers.
Yeah, like 30% or something.
30%, which is insane. Like it's 30% like across the board. So if you're a smaller company, you're getting kind of screwed. And then just learning about all the Epic stuff, like how much money they spent on exclusives for their store, and like that they plan on kind of over the next few years that they're gonna kind of have less and less exclusives to the store, just because it makes sense. They want everybody to come get their free games and then hopefully buy more stuff on the store now that they're kind of in that ecosystem. But it sounds like they're having maybe a hard time with it, just because like Steam is just so, it's hard to beat Steam. It's hard to beat them.
It's hard to beat Steam.
Yeah,
that is true. I'm also reading some other stuff about.
It's just a banana man.
Yeah, they're arguing over like the definition of a game, and someone said that with Roblox, there's experiences within Roblox that we do not look at as a game, but Minecraft was established as a game. But
Roblox is like its own separate.
That's like a whole another beast in itself.
Yeah, Roblox is interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff that's like, it's a lot of like people who aren't necessarily connected to the gaming world, so they're trying to compartmentalize things that no one really tries to do, because everyone just understands what's a game and what isn't a game. But when you try to like actually define it, it's really hard to do.
Yeah, I definitely, because if you're within the game industry or know enough, you can kind of get by on like the lingo and like what is and what isn't, stuff like that. So yeah, when you're a professional, not that gaming isn't professional or anything, but when you're in like a court, it's just hard. A banana man.
They described Fortnite as a metaverse, as a social place.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. It's definitely
like Roblox.
Kids, and the kids go to hang out and
weird. Yeah, just weird stuff. I hope there's some more interesting information that comes out of this. I'm sure there will be.
But yeah, for sure. that's gonna be the title of the show. It's just a banana man.
It's just a banana man.
But yeah, any final thoughts on news this week? Anything else you can think of?
No thoughts on news, but is there anything coming out this week that's exciting? I know Mass Effect.
Yeah, that's kind of the big release, right? New game releases this week. Yeah, I think Mass Effect. Subnautica Below Zero is coming out. That Hood's Outlaw and Legends game's coming out.
I think that's out now, actually.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. I think it did come out today.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed DLC is coming out.
Assassin's
this
Creed
Friday.
DLC. Oh, did you hear that stuff about like Returnal's like update that caused people to like get their saves to be wiped and stuff? That game sounds really good, but it sounds like some of the stuff is pretty rough.
Dude, I don't want to spend 2 to 3 hours on a run.
Yeah, that doesn't sound great.
Die.
And then that doesn't sound great at all.
Yeah, Caleb, I need to look at Hood. I haven't really looked into it much, but I think I remember seeing that initial trailer and it looked pretty fun.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anything about that game. I see it all the time in the store when I'm kind of like just browsing. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I started watching The Walking Dead again. Not why. Well, I didn't start over. I started where kind of left off. So I think I ended on like the beginning of season 8, and like I've watched all the way up till 10, and I've still got some episodes left. It's good, man. I like it. It's I fell off pretty hard just because like I don't know why actually. I fell off. I don't know if I just got tired of it or what, but yeah, just coming back to it. It's a zombie show. It's solid, but like, man, like for like a shitty world that they're in and like people dying all the time, they make some of the dumbest mistakes. Like it's just obviously it's to forward the plot. I get that,
of course.
But like why? Like there's some like some of those mistakes they make. I'm like, do you even live in this world? Or did you just come to it because you were an idiot?
You just got here? Yeah, I'm glad.
Caleb, I got like to the very beginning of season 8 where I don't want. I guess spoilers. It's been forever. They go to attack the sanctuary, and like Negan and Gabriel are held up in that little trailer, and that's kind of where I stopped, and that's where I picked up.
That might be where I stopped.
But all the whisper stuff, that stuff is kind of cool. Like them walking around, like acting as zombies and stuff. That stuff's pretty awesome.
I saw a little bit of that.
Yeah, they call them like the Whisperers or like skins, but they wear like the masks. They wear zombies. Like they cut off their faces and wear them.
Psychos.
Oh, after Terminus. Oh wow. Yeah, that was a while ago. I think that was like season 4 or 5. Terminus was like the eating people, right? Where they were cannibals, I think. Yeah. That was season like 5, I think. That was after the governor.
Yeah, that ended pretty quickly. Terminus did, right?
Yeah, they were only there for a couple episodes. But yeah, it's cool. It's I know they're supposed to be doing like some sort of Walking Dead movie at some point with Rick. Because I know that he left the show, but I don't know if it was he wanted to leave, but the way they did it in the plot was interesting. And they're kind of starting to bring him back. So we'll see. I don't know. It's cool. I like it. It's like one of those throw it on in the background kind of shows, and you just kind of peep into it a little bit.
Yeah, whenever you feel like watching. Yeah. I should get back into it. I mean,
it's cool, man. Like
I watched so much of it that.
Yeah, like I just getting hyped up for Resident Evil. I was like, I could use like a good zombie thing, and like it's cool. It's interesting. So cool stuff. Any TV shows you've been watching? Movies? I watched before you talk. I watched It Follows on Sunday. Have you ever seen that?
I don't think so. What's the premise?
The premise is sexually transmitted demon.
Okay, you got me.
So yeah, it's super creepy movie. So the basic premise is a girl and this guy are talking or whatever. They end up having sex, and then as soon as they're done, he goes like to the back of his car and grabs like a cloth and puts it over her mouth and knocks her out. And then she wakes up and they're like on this parking deck, and he's like, "Hey, I've only got a few minutes. It's gonna start following you now. It's been following me. If it kills you, it's gonna come back to me and start chasing me again." And then like you see,
Whoa.
and then like he grabs her. She's like strapped in a wheelchair. He grabs her, takes her over to the edge, and like you see this naked girl walking up to like the parking deck, like super slow. Like and the creepy thing is she never runs. He or she, and she can take on any form, but he or she, whatever, they never run. They always walk. So you can drive 5 hours down the road, and eventually it's going to catch up to you, depending on how long you stay still.
Oh.
It is a fantastic movie. I'm not going to say a masterpiece because I don't like saying masterpieces, but it is probably one of the best horror movies I've ever seen. It's psychological. Really? It leaves it open to like interpretation, which is always kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that with every movie. Like some movies I like just a solid ending, but yeah, it's really cool. It's one of those movies where I know if you watch it again, you'll pick up little things like in the background and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really interesting. I would definitely recommend you and Alicia watching it.
Where can I watch it? I
if you go, do you have a Roku TV?
Yeah.
I think, where did I watch it at? I don't think it was Hulu.
Hulu, Netflix.
Go on Roku and type in "It Follows," and you should be able to find it for free. It might have been Amazon. I can't remember.
Okay. But I'll just check all of them.
Yeah, check all. It should be for free, and if you can't find it for free and you can like rent it for a couple bucks, totally worth it. Amazon Prime is where I saw it. It's free on Amazon Prime.
Thanks, Caleb.
Yeah, great movie.
You sold me on it.
Yeah, it's like an hour. It's like almost a 2-hour movie, but it's good. It's really, really good. It's creepy, but not like, ghosts and
not jump scary, or
I think there's maybe a couple of jump scares. I can't quite remember.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely some pretty disturbing parts of it, like not overly grotesque or anything, but there's some disturbing moments in it.
Yeah,
but it's good. It's great. It's not too gory. It's really not gory at all, but there's a couple of scenes that are gross. Okay. Not in like I know I said sexually transmitted demon, but like not in like there is one part, but not like a super rapey vibe, I guess, so like some horror movies do, but it's good. It's good. Mm. I definitely recommend it to anybody that wants to watch it. But yeah, that is Caleb, going to what?
Oh, sorry. Caleb, I do like horror movies quite a lot, actually.
Yeah. Any movies, any recent movies, TV shows you've seen, Nick, that you can think of?
I think I watched a space movie. Shoot, I can't remember what it's called. Oh, it was the oh god. It was the movie with Anna Kendrick that just came out. It's on Netflix. Stowaway.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've seen that one.
It's about an engineer who passes out and gets stuck on a shuttle that's going into space.
Oh, weird.
So it's 3 people going into space, and they really only have enough food for 3 people, and then they find him on board, and a bunch of other stuff happens. But they have to figure out like how to survive with one more person than they anticipated. But it was good.
It's cool. Yeah, I love a good space movie or space show. But
yeah, I love space movies.
Yeah, that is going to wrap up the show this week, guys. I appreciate everyone that tuned in live. Of course, we go live on every Sunday or Mondays, sometimes Tuesdays like today. I had a busy, crazy week, so we had to do it a little bit late. But yeah, roughly Monday. And we always tweet it out when we go live. So Nick, where can they follow us on the old Twitter?
They can follow us at Gaming WT Bros on Twitter. We do polls and post about whatever website stuff or
news, whatever.
news, anything we're doing.
Yeah. And then also check out gamingwiththebros.com. Nick does a lot of awesome articles and review pieces and stuff like that. So he's definitely done a good job with that. And yeah, if you want to, I've got a YouTube channel, Atomic Reptar, where I do a lot of like reaction videos and stuff like that, and kind of like my general thoughts on gaming. I did a Pokemon one, a top 5 Pokemon a couple weeks ago, so check that out. And yeah, we will see you guys next week for our Resident Evil spoiler cast.
Yes, cannot wait. Bye bye.
Bye bye.